We're going to have a March 2nd, 2021 meeting. We'll have the invocation by myself, and we have the Pledge of Allegiance by Rosemary Wilson, and we have a roll call. Please stand. Heavenly Father, we come to you tonight to ask you to watch over us as we do our business for the city and work towards doing the things that are right for our citizens and our people that live and work in the town. We ask you to watch out over us as we go about this business. We ask you to watch over the people the COVID is still going on, but we're getting towards the point where it's working towards the betterment of the citizens and hoping everybody can get the shots and move on with their lives. We ask in your holy name, amen.
Amen. I pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay.
Commissioner Brinson?
Here.
Commissioner Wilson?
here.
Mayor Johnston?
Here.
Commissioner Firstner?
Here.
Commissioner Oliver?
Here.
All right, no presentations or proclamations. Staff report.
Nothing this evening, Mayor.
All right, any comments from the public? Anything not pertinent to the agenda?
Nothing.
Does anybody have anything from the public that has any comments on something not on the agenda? Okay, we'll move it back. Let's go to consent agenda.
I'll make a motion to approve.
I'll second it.
Motion made to approve by Commissioner Wilson, seconded by Commissioner Brinson. All right, let's see, let's vote. Motion carries unanimously.
I would like to make a comment on the consent agenda. I didn't want to pull anything, just a quick comment on it.
That's right. I can't understand.
Can't hear you.
Oh, I'm sorry.
I'm sorry.
I'm sorry. No, I just want to make one comment about the agenda, not to pull anything, but I know we already voted on it. However, on the board that actually, the Parks and Rec Board, how many, once we approve this, how many open slots will there be, or open vacancies on this board?
I
What it-
believe that this was going to be, he would be filling the 6 vacancies, we would 4 openings.
4 openings. Again, I think it's an excellent opportunity for anyone that wants to get involved with the city. There's 4 openings on the Parks and Rec Advisory Board. This would be an excellent way to be able to get involved with what we're doing in our Parks and Rec.
It's a fun board, too.
Okay. Public hearing, none. First reading of ordinances, none. Second reading of ordinance, public hearing, none. Regular agenda, discussion and direction on change in proposed use relating to contract for purchase of 17.96 acres of city-owned property located at the northeast corner of Fuller's Cross and Ocoee Apopka Road by GPK Investments. City Attorney Cookson.
I guess I'm handling this one. You may recall several months ago we entered an RFP to find potential purchasers for this property up on Fuller's Cross Road. We did it at the same time we were soliciting interest in a residential piece of property near Ocoee High School. We selected GPK as the highest bidder on that price, on that property at $3.5 million. The city originally anticipated this property to be developed into a commercial development. The developer, I think, initially intended that use and has now recently come back, as I understand, and proposed a residential use on that piece of property. So we are the seller of the property, and we're also the governmental entity approving the development. So this is really not an action item from the city commission. It was just, or from city staff was just to bring it forth to the city commission to get city commission's thoughts on a change of use on that particular piece of property.
All right. So, Greg, do you need to make any statement? Charlie, come on up. All right,
Good evening. Everybody hear me?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Thank you, commissioners, for giving us this time. Originally, when we proposed a warehouse mixed use, was going to be some commercial also involved. And the numbers just didn't pencil out for a warehouse. And you've got another competitor that's pretty heavy in the warehouse business. We didn't want to compete with him either. So basically, we took the PD and looked at the multiple uses that were approved. And we saw mixed-use products, not residential, it's mixed-use. So it has commercial and a high-end apartment. We're proposing 4 stories. We'll have elevators. And then on the corner will be, you'll have some townhomes, some mixed-use in the townhomes, some retail, office. And we had talked about a gas station. Believe it or not, they're still calling about doing gas here, even though we've kind of squashed that. So the commercial part is there. The newer part was the apartment component and the townhome component. We're always going to do a mixed-use, commercial, and was going to be the warehouse, which now we just forego that whole idea. Didn't pencil out. We would have lost money. So in the world of real estate, you have to adapt. We've paid the appraised value. We got it. We stuck with that number, so we just came up with another plan, and it works. So we're just asking for another, let you take a view at what we have here. Pictures on the board. There's the outside.
Are these the townhomes we're looking at?
That's the apartments. Yeah. That's the outside for the apartments, 4 stories. You can see it now, there you go. So this is not a garden apartment, guys, where you've spread out with 3 stories and steps to go up with your furniture. This is more like a resort luxury apartment. So the rents are, it's a little more expensive to build. It's got elevators, it's got sprinklers. It's top of the line apartment. And we're discussing the final designs now and unit mix, and we're in design. We're far down the road. So the next picture. We have a retail on the bottom there, but you have another one. Where's the other picture? There you go. You can shrink it. This should be the out parcel. And this is very modern building. There's a deck on top for a restaurant, to have a outdoor facility, dining, entertainment area. And we'll have some office retail mix in that. So very similar to what we're probably going to do on Blueford also. That same type of design there. Across from City Hall. So, you know, modern design, top of the line. That's your office and townhome. That's your townhome. So once again, this is not a regular, like you used to in Ocoee, the Meritage Homes, or any of the home builders. This is an attached product. It's possibly going to have elevators if they want them in there. And GPK is going to build this. So it's going to also be top of the line townhome, probably more expensive than you're used to in townhomes. But we feel like right there where your school is, you know, you can walk to school, you got the path. There's a lot of appeal to this area for townhomes. And I think we can hit this upscale numbers because of the location and the amenities. The city's evolving, and we're trying to bring it to the highest level we possibly can. So we had to kind of mix the uses to make all the numbers work. And warehouse certainly doesn't look as pretty as that. That's all our pictures.
All right, I'll let commissioners questions.
Have any questions?
Well, I have a couple of questions. On the north side, I'm looking at your the site plan.
Okay.
Now, are these going to be a leased product? Is this
Yes.
town for sale or?
The apartments will be leased. The townhomes will be for sale.
And so on the north side, the 2 L shape on the top, what are those?
Yeah, those are the apartments. So what we did was we took your PD and came in with this roundabout to divert the traffic. So you'll go around the circle. Most of the residents will go unabated to the clubhouse, to the apartments. And then the retail comes out to a separate entrance. So you'll have two entrances, and the apartments will be isolated away from that corner. So our hard corner will be, you know, a mixed use with the office, the retail, and the townhome. The apartment will be on the isolated on the outskirts.
How many units are we looking?
280.
280?
270 or 280.
Yeah, we're trying to park it, so that
And
number's
that's with the
moving.
townhomes included.
And I know you've heard this story before, and it's a song that I'm going to sing again, is infrastructure. With that, obviously, we're just improving that intersection now with the turning lanes. I'm not sure if and I don't know if Mike Rumor or Craig, maybe you can speak to this, whether the turning lanes will be long enough to accommodate this development, because that's 280 possibly units times.
Members of the commission, Craig Shadricks. They will be required as part of the site plan process to do a traffic study, and we will do our own analysis to determine what improvements they're going to be required to make as part of any approval of this project. So what those improvements are, I can't tell you at this point in time because this is still at the concept phase. But as they move forward, we'll be working with them, and we have our own traffic consultant that will be doing an analysis per the land development code to determine the operational improvements and any offsite improvements that they might be required to make.
Yeah, and I well aware of that, and I appreciate that, Craig, for that, because obviously we have a lot of development going on Ocoee, right across the street there, in the Chevron field there. There's possible development going on there. There's also some going west on Fuller's Cross. So when I look at your project, which I like, let you know up front, I like your concept. However, you know, I can't fall in love with one project unless I look at it holistically, and I have to look at how it's going to affect the traffic flow in the north end, especially if you know, end up, hopefully not, but end up there's tractor trailers and other large rolling stock coming up and down those roads. So that's a concern I have, is the infrastructure and how it's going to play out and what you're going to do to help us with that as a municipality.
Absolutely.
And also, obviously, the other part is the school board, because I met with the school board already and talked with them about K-8. And, you know, they're slow to move on it. However, but bringing more units, residential units online will help us fight that battle. However, you know, if they come online and the school board is even slower to move, now we have to figure out how we're going to educate our youth. So those are some of the concerns that I have. Again,
If I could add a couple of things pursuant to that. One is, and this is probably not appropriate here, but I want to remind you all that you don't have a funded school within the 10-year plan of the Orange County School Board, okay? So I'm thanking you all in advance for your efforts in helping push their capital program. The second thing, and that includes the charter schools that we have. They cannot use that as an argument. The projects you mentioned, the Chevron project, Chevron property, it has an approved PSP for a traditional neighborhood design residential project. The potential applicant on that has not submitted yet, but we have a strong idea of what they're going to submit for. We have major concerns about the traffic impacts there because the approved PSP has an approved transportation plan. They actually contributed towards the widening of that intersection. Their trips are vested for that approved PSP on the Chevron development that Chevron actually got approved for. And what's probably going to be proposed is vastly different from that, which many of you probably are aware of that. And we will have some heartburn because it will require a land use change, which requires a complete analysis of city services and the demand created by such a project, including roads, including water and sewer, including everything, which water and sewer, as you all are aware, we have a flow rate study going on in that area right now, which we're anticipating getting back in the next few months. The other thing is the Ocoee Town Center project to the east of this site, they already have locked their improvements in the system, and they're making major improvements consistent with the interchange overlay that the commission created jointly with Winter Garden well, it's probably been like 5 years now, since time flies so much. But this project will be a little bit easier to manage from a transportation standpoint than if they were adding warehouses and putting 18-wheelers on the road.
And thank you again, Director, for that. Also, you know, we have a property that's catty-cornered to that, or kind of somewhat. It's a residential property. Even though it's in the county, we're hopeful. I'm hopeful that they will annex into the city. So we have, you know, we have to be mindful of that traffic as well. So it's a tough, you know, Ocoee, we're growing so rapidly, so fast, and these developments are coming at us, you know, left and right. So we have to be responsible in approving and whatever we approve, whatever it is that we're going to say yes to. We have to make sure that we do it responsibly, looking forward. So again, those are my concerns.
Thank you.
Commissioner Wilson.
Yes, could you, sorry, let me take this down. Could you explain, you mentioned that it's 280 units, but according to your project data on the side, you had 17 townhomes and 312 apartments,
Yeah,
which
we-
would,
we-
my math is 329.
This plan is not, we have an updated plan, this isn't the most recent one, we removed one building, the building back by the pond, that whole building disappeared,
Of apartments or townhomes?
apartments.
Okay. I guess I'd like to just ask, because it really falls between, I know it's in, Commissioner Brinson, it's your district, and kind of falls on the opposite side of your district, right, Mr. Oliver? Oh.
Commissioner Brinson's district.
That's Commissioner Brinson's district.
First, that's
That's
Firstner
good,
side?
that's
Okay, I'm sorry.
Commissioner
I get-
Firstner's district.
Okay. Can I just ask if maybe how have you talked to your residents, how they feel about more apartments going in there? That's just a question I would have, because we're working on Hackney Prairie, and the traffic, that was a concern, but I didn't know how your residents, any of them have spoken to you, if they reach out, I guess to either one of you about that area, probably more from Mr. Brinson.
Yeah, I constantly get emails and have conversations about development as a whole. As far as apartments, you know, some of the concern is we don't want to become a city of apartments, but some of the other concern is we need more affordable units. So it's a balancing act for us, and I think it's, you know, to your point, that these units that you're developing are, you know, more towards the higher end, which is wonderful. Again, and also it's mixed use, because you also have some homeowners will be there, not just dwellers of apartments. So that's good for the city as well. So, you know, again, it's a challenge, because we know we have to grow. We know that we as a municipality are playing catch up in some areas, but in some areas, us moving slowly is actually beneficial to us, and I think that's where we are now. So with our real estate being our currency, we have to be mindful of when we start spending some of that currency to let projects come out of the ground. But to Commissioner Wilson, to your point, I have gotten feedback, some of it's good, some of it other, regarding apartments with us, but there's not that many apartments in the north end. So I think they're not that concerned.
Thank you, no, I'm just interested. Yeah, I'm done, thank you, as long as Mr. Firstner signed anything, any comments,
Yeah, I have the same reaction, you know, from the people down in 3, that as long as they're not right on top of each other and in areas that are, you know, overcrowding, that's the appropriate place to put them out there where there's room to move.
thank you. I'm just interested to know what they say.
On the townhomes, are those units 3 floors?
Yeah, and the parking is gonna be underneath the units, so that you'll have your own garages underneath, and then elevators probably for most of the units.
Nice. I think it's appropriate with the industrial area expanding the way it is, especially out on that north end there. It's going to create a lot more jobs in the area, and this is providing places for those people to live. And if we can keep them working and living in the town, that's to all of our benefit. So I like the idea.
Mr. Oliver?
I'm going to have to agree partially on some of the comments. Basically, what I'm seeing here is a different plan from what was presented first. It was more warehouses, I believe, that was presented the first time, and that kind of gave me pause. So I was a little concerned about the warehouses, knowing what may possibly happen right across the street. So I was happy to see this plan with the single-family homes and townhomes. Infrastructure is always going to be a big thing that I'm always looking for when it comes to development. And as long as we can sustain the infrastructure, the current expansion plan of Fuller's Crossing could sustain this type of project, I have no problems with it at all. One of the things that caught my eye as you were showing the different renderings was the retail side. I saw the retail there, and that kind of excited me there, because it tells me that there's possibilities of restaurants that may come. I like to eat, so, and I know a lot of folks around here like to eat as well, as opposed to going out the city to have a nice meal on a Friday or Saturday night. So that tells me there's a possibility of possible restaurant coming in that area, and I think that'll be a big plus to this particular type of project. I have to say that, again, the balance between growth and infrastructure is always going to be something that we're going to have to juggle. We're always going to have to kind of keep that in mind as well. And even beyond, when I say infrastructure, even beyond the roads and the traffic lights and traffic signs, signals, we have to think about the 5G technology as well. Those are some things that we're going to have to start considering, because, again, when we start looking at technology as a driver, I know real estate right now seems to be, as Commissioner Brinson put it, real estate seems to be our currency, but also 5G technology, as well as any type of technology, is going to also be a driver for us. And what's going to happen, we're going to end up with self-driving cars and transportation and those kind of things. And if we're not prepared, we're going to find ourselves still trying to play catch up. And that technology is going to go beyond us, and we're going to be trying to chase it. So as we start developing, I would love to make sure that we start looking at that type of thing. How do we get a 5G tower in the area to cover the connectivity in the northern quadrant? I also had one question for you. Is there a stabilization plan for this project? And if it is a stabilization plan, how long would that, what's the timeline on it?
We're waiting on you to permit it. So as soon as we submit, if the plan's approved, we'll start construction.
Awesome. All right. And my final comment would simply be this. Do you have any plans to partner with, we do have some communities not too far from here that may be a little dilapidated or in need of maybe jobs or those kind of things. Do you have any plans to partner with the communities around you to be able to do food drives or to do like back to school drives, offer a job to those that may need jobs for skilled and unskilled labor in the nearing? We have trailer parks, folks that they're always looking for work. There's laborers. We have a little labor pool not too far from there as well. And I think that may be an excellent opportunity to partner with organizations like that to be able to not only offer jobs, but as Commissioner Firstman said, you can work in the city, live in the city, work in the city, and also be able to spend your hard-earned money in the city and play in the city as well. So hopefully you'll have a plan as we move forward to consider partnering with some of the more disenfranchised areas around us.
Okay. The Can you pull it back to the apartments again, please? Those are townhomes. There you go. What I like about it is what you've got underneath. The retail businesses that can be there, and it can be a community inside the community where they don't even have to leave when they come home from work. You'll have restaurants, shops, retail, all the drugstore, whatever. That's one of the best things. I know when we went over and looked at some places in Lake Mary one day and looked at that, they put in, I think it was Chuck Woodall, I think it was the project. They have a Winn-Dixie, a brand new model Winn-Dixie in that thing, but this is exactly what we need, where these families can go right there and do the shopping without having, that saves on traffic problems too, because they don't have to come out of there to go to the grocery store up the street or anything else. So I do like that, and I like the condo precept too, because a lot of the high school, a lot of young teachers are coming out to teach, and that's a great place for them to go, a good place to live to start off with, and be it near the schools and stuff. So I think that's a great process. I'm way in favor of that instead of the industrial, light industrial going in there, because I do believe the big trucks and trucks like that and business trucks will tear up our roads more than these cars will. So yeah, I have no problem with that. Okay. Anybody else got any more comments? Hey Scott, do I need to open this to the public?
Nope.
Nope, I didn't think so. All right, we need a vote. We need a motion.
I'll make the motion.
All right, Commissioner Oliver made the motion.
And I'll second it.
Commissioner Benson seconded. Any more comments? Any more discussion? Let's vote. I will say that y'all come up with a good program, a good design, and a good look there. So let's move forward and see what we can get.
I'm sorry. Thank you.
Who? Huh?
He pushed the button. I just
Oh,
want to make sure.
so I think you did a great job there, and I think our staff will work with you, and you guys will work with them. Thank you very much. Looking forward to seeing you there. Thank you. Thank you. I know I skipped over the commission comments a while ago. I figure we can make them all at the end. I forgot it. So we can just do them at the end. Staff action.
Nothing this evening, Mayor.
All right, comments from the citizens. Any citizens have any comments they want to go? This is on the, is this the part on the agenda or
Anything.
any comments? You fill out a form, sir? Okay. Yes, sir.
Mr. Mayor Pro Tem, Commissioners, my name's Jim Moyer. I live in Arden Park North, and I have a quick story about youth opportunities. A young man, 12 years old, got his bicycle stolen, reported angrily to the police, and the police person there taught youth a sport. So I'm going to talk about sports and 6 individuals, but it's not about that.
3 minutes.
Yes, sir.
Okay.
It's about opportunities. The young boy was taught this sport. He did very, very well when he graduated from high school. He then was able to try out for the Olympics. He ran into his first roadblock, a Marine from Philadelphia, but they gave him another opportunity, and he went to Olympics anyway. He did very well, after which he turned professional. He did very well as a professional until he ran into another Philadelphian. This one was born in the South, migrated with his family to Philadelphia, dropped out of school at 12 or 13, was on his own at age 15. But this sport gave him an opportunity. The next roadblock came from, as a professional, as another Marine. This one was from Illinois. He was a superb athlete, but he learned this particular sport in the Marine Corps, And that was very helpful to him in life because he ended up being a single father and he got to spend a lot of time with his son. The next roadblock came from another Marine. This young man was frail as a child, got beat up a lot by his father, got bullied, but the Marine Corps taught him this sport and he did very well. The fourth opportunity came from a young man who was also born in the South, and like the first man from Philadelphia, this gentleman was from near Philadelphia, but they were both children of shareholder. Shareholder, land shareholders. And anyway, the story is about Cassius Clay, who became Muhammad Ali, late Staff Sergeant Percy Price, Joe Frazier, Leon Spinks, Ken Norton Sr., and Larry Holmes. Please give an opportunity here, one way or another, to the youth. I don't care how we go about it, but please give opportunities to the youth here in the city of Ocoee. Thank you. God bless you.
Thank you. All right, anybody else in the public have any comments? All right, we're going to start with the commissioners. Commissioner Oliver.
All right. Jim, thank you for that. 'Cause actually, the first item that I had on the list to cover, things that I wanted to talk about, was actually about youth. It was actually, I've been actually talking to the youth in the community for a few weeks now, and mostly like 6th, 7th, 8th grade kids, middle school kids, about what do they do when they go home? What do they do when they see, what does normal life look like to them? And I think about 80% of them, even some of the young ladies, the little girls, they actually mentioned this. They actually would like to see a skate park. They actually love skating. They actually want a skate park in the city. And as I talked to them about it, I found out that it is it's a big following. And they gave me, one of the kids actually pulled his phone out and said, well, look, Commissioner, this is how far we have to go to a skate park. And just from here to Windermere or Ocoee, they're traveling 13 to 20 miles to go to a skate park. This is just something that they love to do. And I did tell them that I would like to explore the possibility of getting a skate park in our city for our kids. It'd be definitely something for them to do. It'd be an outlet for them. I understand we're getting our first doggy park, and that was actually pretty exciting to see we're actually getting something for our pet lovers. But a skate park would actually be something that might be interesting for our youth in the city. I plan on taking it to the youth council, and maybe they can explore it a little bit more and bring it back to the commission to talk about a possible skate park in the city of Ocoee or somewhere near the city of Ocoee, that we may be even a partner with that. So that's something that we can possibly take advantage of, a youth opportunity. Another thing I've already talked about is actually 5G technology. I want to ask the staff, what would it take for us to get 5G technology in the upper quadrant or the northern quadrant of the city of Ocoee? How could we do that?
Are you speaking, Commissioner, something for the city to take on as a provider, or?
No, not a provider. How would we actually partner with one of the big three right now to bring 5G technology to our city, to the northern quadrant of the city? How will we go about doing that? What would that look like? How will we even start that process? Because I know a lot of folks, particularly in the northern part of the city, has issues with connectivity. It's running rapid throughout the northern area of the city, and even right here in the downtown area. We have connectivity issues right here at City Hall, stand out in the parking lot. We have a lot of drop calls, you can't get connectivity. So I'm just wondering, what would it take and how would that look for us to get more 5G technology in the city?
That's something we would have to talk to the providers about. We've not done anything like that. We're not aware that, going to 5G would solve some of those problems. Seems like the coverage there would be is spotty, less, would have less coverage of the city than we do now, actually. But we've not reached out to them. That's not been something that's at the top of our agendas. It's not an issue for us right now. If that's something you all like us to look into, we certainly could. But I don't know what these companies will say if we approach them.
Yeah.
It's just not something we've done before.
Gotcha. And, you know, that's kind of my point. My point is that, again, technology is always moving. We're going to keep moving, and we got to keep moving with the technology. I think that may be something that we can possibly put on our radar in the future to say, how do we start these conversations with the big three to say, hey, technology is moving. We want to continue to move with it. We're building. As we know, we're building single-family homes, and we're trying to find that balance between infrastructure and building. 5G technology is a part of infrastructure, and I want to start, as we talk about infrastructure, I would like to always consider that as a part of the infrastructure. Not only we talk about roads, widening roads, road expansions, and traffic lights, traffic signs. That's what we typically think of infrastructure. That's what we think about. But again, we got to start thinking a little bit more beyond that, and let's start thinking about how do we add that into the conversation when we're talking to developers.
The
or
difference
just
between
as we
that,
move
Commissioner,
forward.
we don't control that. We don't own that utility to do it. We do use, you know, when we're looking at roads and utilities and those types of things, we specifically, you know, charge for those things through impact fees or user fees or something like that so we can plan ahead. That's from a different provider. You know, we have some relationships with those companies where we can have quarterly discussions and those types of things. But a lot of times the issues that we're bringing up are the same issues all the other cities are bringing up, and they want to be pushed to the front of the line. So, you know, we are cognizant of some of those things. We have meetings. I know information technology meets with the cell phone providers all the time, checking into, you know, the rates we're getting and the service we're getting. We meet with the power company all the time as far as service-related issues. You know, we do what we can, but we're not necessarily in charge of those utilities, so we have a very limited effect on the end game there.
Well, I understand that. So we have not because we ask not. All I'm simply saying is we need to start asking. So we can't control it, but we could at least ask and say,
Well, we
hey,
have. No, I
what
said
can
that.
you guys do?
We do ask. I mean, we meet with them typically quarterly, and they ask us what our concerns are. We talk about concerns like permitting, rates, you know, public notice when they're doing projects, when they're doing power upgrades and those types of things. Typically, 5G, from what I understand, you know, it's something most communities want. They've all been petitioning all their cell companies to have, you know, be first in line for that. But as far as, you know, something where I think we would have some type of carrot to wave in front of them to get them to do something, I don't know what tools we would have for that.
Okay. Well, I would like to offer my assistance. I actually do have a similar relationship with T-Mobile on the upper scale, the upper end of T-Mobile, which is actually out in Seattle. And I've had the opportunity to meet with some guys up there over the past few years. And we could possibly ask and say, hey, what would it take for you guys to, I would like to partner with staff to say, how can we make these connectivities or connections between the city and a company like that, which they just pretty much bought Sprint. So now they're expanding their 5G technology. They may be interested if we can probably just start the conversation. Who knows where it may lead? We may end up with some
I'm just not
technical-
clear what our role is in that, in our relationship with the cell phone companies and their providers. We really don't have a role in that,
Right.
except, you know, maybe talking to them and saying, we would really like you to come in and, you know, we can give them some demographic information or something like that.
Yeah.
But, you know, there's very limited ways that we can influence their decisions as a corporation as to where they're going to move ahead.
Gotcha. Well, yeah, I don't think it's a matter of influencing their situation, their decisions. It's just simply we're a city, we're a municipality, we have 50,000 residents. This is something that we need. Sometimes you'd be amazed at what we can get if we just ask for it. So we can have the conversation offline and figure out what we can do to at least
Yeah,
have
I mean,
the
if it's going to
conversation.
benefit the residents, I'm happy to have that conversation,
Okay,
especially if it's not going to cost us anything.
absolutely.
Yes.
My next item is, I want to talk a little bit about the yard waste. We're talking about the 4 cubic yards of waste. Is Steve still back there in the back? I just have a question for him. So as we field a lot of emails and phone calls concerning the yard waste, and we've been doing that for about a year now. So, and we did conclude that we want to get an educational piece out there to the citizens, let them know exactly this is what it looks like, this is what you can do, this is what you cannot do when it comes to discarding your yard waste. One of the, as I was traveling through a couple of neighborhoods, ran into a gentleman who had an idea or thought that he wanted me to present, as far as the possibilities of maybe getting people to understand what that looks like. He mentioned something about maybe a collapsible disposable bin, like a tarp material type bin that he could purchase that would actually identify what 4 cubic yards looks like. He would fill that up before he cut his trees down, fill that up, and then as the waste disposal company comes by to pick up the trash, they can actually pick up exactly what he put in that bin. That way he knows that it will all be gone, as opposed to them leaving half of it there and then picking up the other half next week. So I wanted to present that to you to see if there's a possibility we can look into identifying a company that might have such a bin that citizens might purchase, or maybe do like a pilot program in a neighborhood where we can put maybe 5 or 6 of them out and say, hey, let's see how this works. And possibly come up with a solution, not only to educate, but also gives them an idea of what they can put out and how that's going to look.
We can do that. We can see what's available and also reach out to our vendor Waste Connections to see if they can help us with that. They may know of some product out there. And we can check on that.
Just for purpose discussion, you go down here by the the middle school, there's a house on the corner of the old minor house. That's exactly what they do. They have a green package thing out there. They put all their stuff in it, and then they pick up that whole package. It's a green package. If you ride down there, you'll see it. It's always out. They put all their scraps or whatever, wood or anything, they put it in that, and they pick it up. Now, they must pay extra for it, but that's there.
That Nell's old house.
Yeah, Miss Minor's old house on the corner by the
I've
school.
never seen that, but I
Yeah.
know about
Yeah, that might be a great educational piece, as well as something that citizens may be interested in purchasing. Again, for me personally, that would be something I might be interested in myself, purchasing something like that, because that way I know that my trash will be picked up, and maybe even let my neighbors take a look at it and say, hey, you know what, that's a great idea. They might pick up. So that may be a great idea. If we can look into something like that, that's a possibility of maybe just get some information out. So here, this is where you can purchase it. This is what it looks like, and here's the cost to it. So that may be a great opportunity to stop some of the phone calls, emails, and text messages about trash.
We'll look into it and see what we can come up with.
Thank you so much. Also, another thing I've been receiving a lot of calls and emails on is COVID-19 vaccination scheduling, or getting the shot, vaccination shots. As we hear that the numbers are kind of stagnant right now, but as more and more folks are getting that shot, I'm still getting calls from folks, elderly folks that just may not be may not be savvy with technology, using computers and cell phones to get to these appointments. But what I did find out, I called Tallahassee, and I found out that there is actually a hotline that folks can call, and they ask you a few simple questions, and they will schedule you an appointment to get vaccinated at the nearest, or your local vaccination location, based on your zip code or based on where you are. I'm also going to give this number to the cities. Maybe we can post this number on our website, so you can actually go out and see where you can go to your local area to get these vaccinations. That number is actually 866-210-6313. That's 866-210-6313. That number is sponsored by the state of Florida, and they will, based on your zip code, they will tell you, they will also schedule an appointment. They will schedule an appointment over the phone at the nearest vaccination location around you. I'm not sure if it's a 5 or 10 mile radius, but they will find the nearest one to you and schedule that appointment for you. Right now, I know it's 65 and older. They're starting to change that right now, starting to shift based on the need as far as are you essential workers, and that age bracket is starting to shift right now. So this may be an excellent opportunity for those that have not gotten that shot to be able to call that number and get scheduled for a vaccination. Also, Election Day, March 9th, next Tuesday, we have an election in the city, District 2 and District 4. District 2 will be here at the Lakeshore Center. District 4 will be at the Jim Beach Rec Center on 80 Mims Road. Polls open at 7 a.m., closes at 7 p.m. Typically, we've had about an 8% turnout in the city, which means that about 92% are not showing up for these elections. It is very important that you get out and exercise your right to vote. It is very important that you get out and voice your opinions about what you want to do, how you want to see the city move forward, and you can do that through exercising your right to vote. That is Tuesday, March 9th. And finally, I will leave you with this. Do nothing out of selfish ambition, vain or conceit. Rather, in humility, value others above yourselves. That comes from Philippians chapter 2, verses 3. Thank you.
Commissioner First.
Applications for the Ocoee Neighborhood Matching Grant Program are available. The Neighborhood Grant Program is open to homeowner associations and to neighborhoods that do not have a structured HOA. The goal of the grant program is to assist residents with making improvements to their neighborhoods. There is $12,000 available with the maximum grant award of $2,000. The deadline to submit the applications is March 19th. Applications are available online at ocoee.org and at the City Hall reception desk. Completed application should be mailed or delivered to Ocoee City Hall, 150 North Lakeshore Drive. Thank you.
Commissioner Wilson.
Yes, thank you. As we're reading the news, the legislature is ramping up, and they are submitting bills, and bills are going to committees. And I'd just like to let the residents know that the city is a member of the Tri-County League of Cities and also the Florida League of Cities. And they're great advocates for us regarding issues that come before them. And one of the issues we've known about was short-term rentals, and many of our neighborhoods have experienced that issue. And I'd like to let you know that legislature took a lot of that away from us as a city, our ability to control that. So it's very important for us as residents to be advocates. And when you see things in the news you don't like, or you feel it's going to affect your home, your city, you need to call your legislators. You vote for them, you bring them in, you need to let them know how you feel. And again, with Tri-County League, we are great advocates for our cities, and we spend time going to Tallahassee, except for this year. We spend time going to Tallahassee to speak to the legislators, and I want you to know that you have the power yourself to do that. And please, call them, tell them what you think, because it's very important for us. There's such a thing called unfunded mandates that cost us as city residents. And they they dictate what we're going to do and don't give any money behind it for us to follow through. And so please, all I ask is that you follow through on this, be advocates for yourself and for the city, and speak up. Your legislators, they have offices, they're there to listen to you, so that's all I ask. Thank you.
Commissioner Vincent.
Today is the second day of March, which is Women's History Month, which also just about 100 years, maybe 101 years ago, women's suffrage happened. And now here we are about to go into an election period. We need to exercise our right to vote. It is crucial, and if we don't do it, then we're stuck with whatever we have, and we didn't play our part. So I would recommend to everyone who's out there, exercise your right to vote. If you're able to vote in this upcoming election, in the district elections that we have within the city, you must be a resident of that district to vote in that district. Remember that. COVID-19, obviously, that is something it's been in the news, we've been talking about it from the DICE for over a year. I have gotten both COVID shots, 1 and 2. The number 2 did affect me a little bit. It did sit me down for a minute or two, but I got it. And it's important that we still maintain, even for those of us who've received both shots, maintain our social distancing and mask wearing, because it is extremely important. I think we've spoken already, but I think his horse is not too dead to beat, is that we have advisory boards within the city. And unfortunately, on some of those advisory boards, we have vacancies. In some of the advisory boards, we have many vacancies. We would like the community to get involved, get engaged, become active in our advisory boards. It can do nothing but help us as a city, as a community, to be engaged in what's happening in the city and help us steer the city, help us help you with whatever it is that you want for us as a community and as a city. So get engaged and encourage your neighbors to get engaged. Encourage your neighbors to vote as well. I would also say that if you need to contact me, if you live in District 1 or in any other district, I guess, but District 1 specifically, L. Brinson, BRINSON.org is L. Brinson at Ocoee.org is my email address. I'm going to regurgitate what Commissioner Fershner read about the Neighborhood Grant Program. That is a very, very good program. It is limited dollars available, but if you want to participate in that, you got to get in it. You got to be in it to get it. The next, and I'm sure that maybe the mayor and others will cover this as well, but I feel compelled to cover all the new business openings that's happening in the city. These are wonderful, wonderful things. We have Dunkin' Donuts that obviously we just did a ribbon cutting for. We also have Greater Vision Enterprises that just not only did this business owner purchase a building, but also opened and did a ribbon cutting, her grand opening and a ribbon cutting at her business recently. And then, of course, we have Tijuana Flats and others. So Ocoee is growing. We're doing a lot of things in Ocoee, a lot of movement, as I mentioned earlier, that's happening in Ocoee. Bear with us, because with growth comes growth pains. So just bear with us. I also visited Glad Tidings Church. I'm sure there's many ministries, especially those here in the city of Ocoee, that are doing wonderful things, especially food giveaways. But Glad Tidings Church is one of the ones that I visited on Saturday, and I try to get over there when I am available to do food giveaways, and that's on Fuller's Cross Road, right near the corner of Ocoee Apopka and Fuller's Cross. The governor did sign an executive order today saying that any folks over 50 who are first responders, law enforcement, teachers, can get their vaccine shortly. There will be, starting tomorrow, a vaccination site that's going to be at Valencia College, West Campus, right off Kirkman Road. So if you're looking to get a shot, I would encourage you to do so. And I think that's it.
Thank you. All right, cities, I'm going to go ahead and read these announcements off. The city's general municipal election for Commissioner Districts 2 and 4 will be held next Tuesday, March the 9th, at the Ocoee Lakeshore Center, next to City Hall, in the Jim Beach Recreation Center off of A.D. Mims Road. Early voting started yesterday and ends this Friday, March the 5th, at the Orange County Supervisor of Elections Office. To view a sample ballot, please visit the elections page on the city's website. All right, the couple things. Sewer lines. Rob, I mentioned it to you a little while ago. We spent about $9 million running sewer downtown, and I want to see us hook it up. The reason I say that, we've got 3 new restaurants on the market coming here downtown that are waiting for us. They're buying the buildings. One was bought Monday, the other one will be bought tomorrow, the other buildings. And all they want to put restaurants in them. To do that, we got to hook up the sewer. So our line is run there. What we have to do through this commission, we talk about the restaurants, talk about pushing for restaurants. Now's the time. we gotta put that sewer line in to get those restaurants. So we've got a chance to get 3 different type restaurants coming in downtown, because Mr. Sills sold the cafe, they sold the building beside the cafe, and the brick building out on the other corner has sold. So we had opportunity times now to get some restaurants into town. So I'm asking the commission, Rob, what is the process? We have got to go ahead and hook up these lines.
Yeah,
They
Mayor,
have to pay the fees to hook up.
Craig, I don't know if you got any additional information. He was going to check on that. It's possible the actual connection down the street may have been put into the bond issue. If not, typically we would look at how long the run is. If it was something typically that the owner of the building would pay for. I know we've all talked about economic development and improving downtown, so that's something, if that's what you wanted to do, if there was some cost on the property owner there, and as an economic development incentive to actually get restaurants downtown, because you're probably not going to get a restaurant downtown unless we do some type of incentive to get sewer run past all those buildings. That's something we could work into either budget next year or the budget amendment that we'll probably come back with next month
Well,
for. So I don't
problem
know
is
if
we
Craig
can't wait
had
till
a
next
chance.
year.
I'm sorry?
We can't wait till next year. I know you're.
No, say next
you're
month
talking
is
about next month.
the budget
Yeah,
amendment, yeah.
Yeah.
Craig, did you get a chance to check and
did.
see if that was included in the bond issue?
We did use bond funds to get sewer into the area, because the brewery, the Toll Road Brewery was coming in, they ran it down Oakland, and we have a design to run a gravity line down the alleyway that goes between Oakland and McKee. That's something that we could do with the budget amendment next month, if the commission directed us to. That would be a cost of approximately $400,000, and they would have it immediately right behind them.
Hold it.
Yes.
400,000 to run it 2 blocks.
That was the
You're
estimate.
talking me whoa. $400,000 to run it 2 blocks.
Yes.
That sounds like it probably has a lift station
I'd like to see
attached
that.
to it, but
But
Okay.
I'm just saying, we gotta do it. That was the whole purpose of spending that money on sewer, is to put them businesses up downtown. So that's something we gotta.
and we'll
address.
check on that. That number, Craig, I mean, that number may have been to
Yeah.
do the whole street. It may have been to do all of McKee
Because-
Street, or no?
I don't know where,
That's all
even Sanford or Orlando or Winter Garden, they run the sewer lines behind or in front, and then they pay to hook up to it, just like we do the water. So we have got to get on that, and I listened to the talk thing the other night, and I think every one of them mentioned restaurants. So here we are with a chance to have restaurants. Let's get off the stump.
I think in the past, Mayor, I think that was kind of the direction for the last 4 or 5 years that we've been pushed in,
Yeah.
was to get the spine in, and then if there was going to be some type of payment required, perhaps the general fund could use our economic development funding to do that type of thing. It's just we're at that point now, where there's not been any changes downtown. We haven't heard about it for the last couple of years. With the sewer system stubbed out. So that's something that you'll have to decide at this point. We probably need to go ahead and put some type of estimate together to at least do the 1 block or to do both blocks of downtown, if that's something you think should be incentivized by the general fund to do
Because
that.
we went out and told these people that we would incentivize them to come here and put restaurants here. So if we run the line behind it, that's what we're doing.
It's been a
As long as they pay to hook
it's been a
up.
number 1 goal for years
I
by the
know.
commission to get downtown up and running,
Yeah.
and it's not going to happen without sewer.
That's right.
So we can
So-
put that estimate together and bring that information
And I
back.
think there's gonna be some more coming, because I think they're gonna be selling some more property. So that's something we gotta do. And
We
that
would,
means not later, but sooner.
we will support that with commission direction. That's absolutely, I've gotten several calls about people interested in properties in the downtown as well, and that's always, just for everyone's benefit, when people are looking at site selection, they want to look at the infrastructure that's there, water, sewer, stormwater, and, in the case of a technology company, is there high-speed fiber. So if we can't say there's sewer there, then that could turn some people away. So we absolutely concur that we need to get sewer on McKee or accessible
All
to
right.
the entirety of McKee.
Let's work on that. The other thing is go back, like I said, watching what comments are on stuff, yard waste. I will tell you When we voted for that, 4 of us voted for it, and I know Commissioner Wilson didn't. But I will tell you that at the time, citizens didn't want us to raise the rates, and the rates were going to go up $5 a person or house. And that's why we come up with the solution. And I have answered the phones, and I get more than most of you, but I am telling you that the yard waste thing is probably coming under control now, because it has taken a while for people to understand you can't cut an oak tree down that's 100 foot tall and put it out in your front yard and somebody's gonna pick it up without paying part of it. So that's what the problem was. And they're picking it, if you ride through town and through all the areas like I do, in the old areas, they rebuild these houses and then they throw everything out front. So we are in the right way getting there, and we didn't have to buy new trucks. We didn't, and so this is the problem that is gradually working itself out. And I will say that the Steve Cruz staff calls these people back. They call in, they call them back, and I will say that these guys go straight out to that house and take care of that problem. So if you get calls, call them into Steve Cruz, and his staff will make sure that's taken care of. Like I said, it's easy to say it afterward, but people didn't want their rates raised, and then we didn't want to raise them. So, and one other thing, I want to do something in maybe May. So it's we talked about different kinds of music. I've talked to some preachers. I want to get the churches together and bring a group in and have a spiritual weekend on a Saturday and have it up on the grass out here in front of the Lakeshore Center. What we'll do is bring different groups and different churches, and we'll present and have an all-day deal. We can put food trucks out there on the grass, out on the outside of the grass, and we'll put a little stage down on the bottom, and I'll raise the money. So we will, if it's up to the commission, if you say no, then we won't do it. But this is a thing we can bring into different churches. There's a group called the Brotherly Love, and there's a lady that sings on the gate. There's this African-American lady that we want to try to bring. So we want to put in and have all the churches participate. And so I want to make sure that commission's okay for me to go ahead and start working on that. I want to bring, I'm going to try to raise the money that'll cover the cost of what we have to do. So it's I call it the spiritual day. It's kind of a deal where with the COVID, we can put all the people together and come together and celebrate a little bit the gospel. I think we'd all need a little of it, so, so it don't hurt us. But this thing is, when I was growing up, my mother used to take me downtown Orlando to the all-night sing, they call it. And it was from like, you started at 7 and went to 12. They call that an all-night deal. But this thing, we'll start it on a Saturday morning and go to Saturday afternoon and just have a stage and let people sing, bring the different churches and this group in. So is it okay if we do that? Consensus?
Yes, I have just one question. If you don't mind. Do you have a question? Didn't we put money in the budget this year for the music event that we did not have when, COVID was already going on when we did this, but did we put money in the budget for that?
I don't remember.
Do you remember if we put money in that, anyone remember if we put money in the budget? I'm sorry, I have to go back and research it.
I don't recall that.
Because every year we put that in, we
Yeah, I
put the
think
money
so.
for,
I'll raise it.
okay, but I just wondered if some of that was still available for, because folks want to get out. Folks, again, they're trying to get some form of normalcy in their life, as long as it's followed by the
Yeah.
criteria we have to follow.
And it's kind of right at Memorial Day too, so we can, it'll be a kind of a thing we can tie. This one group sings, they have 2 songs that I know is, you were ex-Marine and Navy, and, Navy too?
Yep.
Army. They have a guy that sings Arlington. If you haven't heard that spiritual song, you need to listen to it. That is an amazing song. So it's up to you guys. If you don't want to.
I think it's a great idea to have a city sponsored event as such. I'm on board with it. Obviously, you'd like to hear more details, but
Yeah.
yeah, I think it's a great idea.
What about you, Rick?
I like it. I like the idea.
Mr. Oliver?
I think it's a great idea, but also still need to keep COVID in mind.
Oh.
That needs to be definitely on the forefront and make sure that we are following social distancing and make
Oh,
sure
yeah.
that there's things put in place that is going to keep our citizens safe, keep ourselves safe, and also we have to look at the numbers, make sure that we don't end up with 1,000 people out there trying to enjoy this, and we're starting a super spreader event. So we just I want to make sure that we keep that in mind as we move forward. So I like the idea. I have no problem with that. I think it'll definitely bring some unity to us here in the city, and I think it's a great idea. But again, just make sure that we're
I would have-
looking out for the COVID procedures.
I would
Yeah,
have no
no
other
problem.
intention than doing that. That's why I said we can spread it out on the, and if you go down on the weekends and during the week nights, you go down on that grass and there's people sitting all over, watching kids play kickball out there with their parents and watching them run around, have fun, throwing the football around. It's a great place. So I think if we can, and we got plenty of room there that we can spread out. And so I'd like to set it up in May. I got to check with the Recreation Department, and see if there's a date. But if it's okay, so the consensus is it's okay. So I'll work on that.
I'd
All right.
like to see if we have any money. I don't see
Well,
it.
like I said, I had already
Okay.
planned on trying to raise, I know, I've already looked into trying to raise some money, so we'll see. But if it is, it is. I just think it's time we bring everybody together and do a little bit of soul searching. Okay, let's just see. I think that's it. Like I said, don't forget vote. It's tough. One of the tough things about election time is when off-season election, I call it, when you don't, like we used to vote, everybody voted in November. And then they cut that out, Orange County cut that out. So the cities had to go to the odd months in March and whatever. So just tell your neighbors, tell your friends, go out and vote. That's districts 2 and 4. See you on March the 16th.